Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible possibilities in space exploration: terraforming planets. For centuries, humanity has gazed at the stars, dreaming of new worlds to call home. But what if we could actually transform these distant, barren planets into thriving environments? Welcome to the groundbreaking concept of terraforming. Terraforming is the process of turning an alien planet into a living, Earth-like world by reshaping its atmosphere, climate, and ecosystems to support human life. What was once the stuff of science fiction is now on the cutting edge of space science. Why should we terraform? First, with Earth's resources dwindling, colonizing new planets could be crucial for humanity's survival. Second, it's a scientific goldmine, giving us the chance to experiment with planetary systems on a scale never before imagined. And finally, it offers the possibility of creating new homes for future generations, ensuring life thrives even if Earth becomes less hospitable. So, where do we start? Mars is the most popular choice, thanks to its Earth-like features, like a 24-hour day and polar ice caps with essential resources. But it also presents major challenges: thin atmosphere, freezing temperatures. Then there's Venus, Earth's sister planet, with its similar size but thick, toxic atmosphere. And let's not forget the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, Europa and Titan, hiding potential oceans beneath their frozen surfaces. To terraform, we start with atmospheric engineering. On Mars, releasing trapped gases could trigger a warming greenhouse effect. On Venus, we'd remove carbon dioxide to cool the planet. Then we'd regulate temperatures, perhaps by reflecting more sunlight onto Mars with orbital mirrors or shielding Venus from the sun's intense heat with solar shields. Water is essential. On Mars, we could melt polar ice caps or redirect comets rich in water to form oceans. Once the climate is stable, life can take root, starting with extremophiles, microorganisms that thrive in extreme environments to help produce oxygen and break down minerals. Eventually, we could introduce more complex life, like plants and animals, a self-sustaining biosphere. However, would take centuries to develop fully. The introduction of life on a new planet is a delicate process that requires careful management. Ecosystems are complex and interconnected, so ensuring that the right balance of plant and animal species is maintained is critical. Even the smallest imbalance could have disastrous effects, causing ecosystems to collapse or invasive species to dominate. Moreover, a fully functional ecosystem doesn't just support life. It regulates the planet's climate and atmosphere. Plants would absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, helping to stabilize the atmosphere over time. Animals would play their part in the food chain, ensuring that populations of various species remain in check. But as intriguing as this vision sounds, the challenges of terraforming remain immense. The technological hurdles alone are mind-boggling. We would need advanced systems to create and maintain artificial atmospheres, regulate temperatures, and introduce the right mix of life forms, all while keeping everything in balance over potentially thousands of years. Energy is another major consideration. Terraforming would require vast amounts of power. For instance, heating a cold planet like Mars or cooling a hot planet like Venus would demand advanced energy solutions far beyond our current capabilities. While nuclear energy is often proposed as a solution, many scientists believe that more advanced technologies, such as nuclear fusion, might be necessary to provide the amount of power required for such massive projects. The time frame for terraforming is also a challenge. Even under the most optimistic scenarios, transforming a planet like Mars or Venus into one that can support human life would take thousands of years. It's not something that could be accomplished in a few decades or even within a few lifetimes. This makes terraforming a long-term vision, one that would need continuous investment, international cooperation, and consistent management over centuries. But these scientific and technological challenges aren't the only obstacles to terraforming. There are also significant ethical and moral concerns. Should humanity really attempt to alter entire planets for its own benefit? Could we inadvertently destroy alien ecosystems, or even microbial life, that might already exist on those planets? These questions are at the heart of a growing debate about the ethics of terraforming. For example, If microbial life is discovered on Mars, should we proceed with terraforming if it would mean wiping out those organisms? Some argue that even simple life forms have a right to exist and that humanity should not interfere with natural ecosystems on other planets. Others believe that the survival of our species should take priority, particularly if terraforming is seen as a way to ensure humanity's future beyond Earth. In addition to these ethical questions, there are practical concerns about the environmental impact of terraforming. Would altering one planet have unintended consequences for the solar system as a whole? Some scientists worry that large-scale changes to a planet's climate or atmosphere could affect neighboring planets or moons in unforeseen ways. The legal and political challenges of terraforming are equally complex. Space law is still in its infancy, and as space exploration continues to expand, international regulations will need to evolve. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967, which forms the foundation of space law, prohibits any country from claiming sovereignty over celestial bodies. This means that no nation can own a planet or moon, raising questions about how terraformed worlds would be governed. Would the first humans to colonize a terraformed planet have the right to govern themselves? Who would oversee the distribution of resources on a newly habitable world? The political implications of terraforming are vast. There would need to be a comprehensive legal framework in place to regulate everything from planetary governance to resource allocation, all while ensuring that no single country or corporation monopolizes the benefits of terraforming. As space exploration becomes more commercialized, private companies are likely to play a significant role in terraforming projects. This raises concerns about the privatization of entire planets. Could a corporation own a planet or the rights to resources on it, if they're the ones funding the terraforming efforts? And how would that affect humanity's access to these new worlds? Many believe that international cooperation will be essential to the success of any large-scale terraforming project. No single nation or company has the resources, technology, or expertise to terraform a planet on its own. A global approach, where countries and corporations work together, sharing knowledge and resources, may be the only way to achieve such an ambitious goal. At the same time, future technologies could hold the key to overcoming many of the scientific and logistical challenges. Nuclear fusion, for example, could provide the immense energy needed to power terraforming operations. Unlike traditional nuclear power, which splits atoms, nuclear fusion involves fusing atomic nuclei together, releasing enormous amounts of energy in the process. Fusion reactors could one day provide the power necessary to warm or cool planets on a massive scale. Another promising field is artificial intelligence and robotics. Terraforming a planet would involve vast amounts of labor, much of which could be performed by autonomous machines. AI could manage complex systems, such as climate control and atmospheric regulation, while robotic workers could build infrastructure or mine resources without human intervention. This would allow humanity to begin terraforming projects long before humans could safely live on these planets. Synthetic biology is another exciting area of research. Advances in genetic engineering could allow scientists to create organisms specifically designed to survive on alien worlds. Genetically modified bacteria could be used to kickstart the terraforming process, breaking down minerals in the soil, producing oxygen, or even generating energy. Plants could be engineered to thrive in low-atmosphere environments, helping to build a self-sustaining ecosystem. Geoengineering, which is currently being studied as a way to combat climate change on Earth, could also play a role in terraforming. Technologies like carbon scrubbing, removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, or using orbital mirrors to reflect sunlight could be repurposed for planetary engineering. While these future technologies could bring us closer to realizing the dream of terraforming, the time frame remains a major hurdle. Even with advanced technology, transforming an entire planet is not something that can be achieved quickly. Scientists estimate that terraforming Mars, for instance, could take anywhere from several centuries to millennia. This is because building a self-sustaining atmosphere, regulating temperature, and creating a functioning biosphere are incredibly slow processes. Warming Mars to Earth-like temperatures, for example, would require melting the polar ice caps, releasing vast quantities of carbon dioxide and water vapor into the atmosphere. This process would generate a greenhouse effect, but it would take many decades, if not centuries, to make a noticeable difference. Additionally, without a protective magnetic field, much of Mars' new atmosphere could be gradually stripped away by solar winds, meaning that the process of replenishing the atmosphere would need to be ongoing. On Venus, cooling the planet could be even more challenging. Reducing surface temperatures from their current 467 degrees Celsius would require a combination of methods, such as deploying solar shields in space to block sunlight and removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. But even if successful, it would take an immense amount of time to stabilize Venus's climate to the point where liquid water could exist. Given this extended timeline, terraforming is not just a scientific challenge. It's a multi-generational one. The people who initiate terraforming projects may never live to see their completion. This raises questions about humanity's commitment to such long-term endeavors. Will future generations continue the work started by their ancestors? Or could these projects be abandoned over time due to shifting priorities or unforeseen obstacles? Yet, despite the daunting timeline, the potential rewards of terraforming are extraordinary. Imagine a future where humanity is not confined to Earth, but spread across multiple planets, moons, and space colonies. A terraformed Mars could become home to millions of people, with cities, forests, and oceans stretching across its surface. Venus could one day be a world of floating habitats, built in its newly cooled atmosphere, surrounded by vast bodies of water. And the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn could become the new frontiers for exploration and scientific discovery. Of course, this vision of the future hinges on our ability to overcome the many challenges that lie ahead: technological, ethical, and political. Terraforming is not just about transforming planets. It's about transforming our understanding of what is possible for humanity. It's about pushing the boundaries of our species, expanding our reach across the cosmos, and ensuring our survival in an unpredictable universe. There are also philosophical questions that emerge from the prospect of terraforming. What does it mean to make a planet Earth-like? Should our goal be to recreate Earth's environment exactly? Or should we strive to create new ecosystems that are adapted to the unique conditions of each planet? And how might humanity's relationship with these new worlds differ from our relationship with Earth? Will we treat them with care, or will we repeat the same mistakes of environmental destruction and resource depletion? As humanity grapples with these questions, we must also consider the potential consequences of terraforming on a planetary scale. What if we encounter alien life, even in its simplest forms? On Mars, for example, there is evidence suggesting the possibility of microbial life beneath the surface. If this life exists, even in the form of bacteria, the ethical dilemmas would become even more complex. Do we have the right to alter a planet that may already host life, however primitive? Some scientists argue that protecting any form of life, even microbial, should take precedence over terraforming. These life forms, they suggest, could hold important clues about the origins of life in the universe and should be studied, not eradicated. Others argue that the survival of humanity might justify transforming Mars, even if it means disrupting or eliminating microbial life. The discovery of life on another planet could lead to intense debates about humanity's responsibility as stewards of the cosmos. Another ethical consideration involves the environmental impact of terraforming. If we alter one planet in the solar system, could there be unintended consequences for other planets or moons? For instance, modifying Mars' atmosphere could potentially influence the orbits or climates of its moons, Phobos and Deimos. On a larger scale, changes in the solar system's gravitational dynamics might have ripple effects, although these scenarios are still speculative. Aside from these scientific and ethical concerns, terraforming also forces us to confront social and political issues. Who gets to live on these newly habitable planets? Will space be colonized by only the wealthiest individuals and nations, creating an even wider gap between rich and poor? The risk of planetary colonization becoming an exclusive endeavor is real, And without careful regulation, it could lead to a scenario where access to new worlds is restricted to those who can afford it. This brings us to the issue of governance. How will societies on terraformed planets be governed? Who will make the decisions about resource distribution, environmental management, and societal structure? Will new colonies be independent, or will they remain under the control of Earth-based governments or corporations? The legal and political frameworks for governing terraformed planets are still being debated, but one thing is clear. We will need a new set of laws to regulate life beyond Earth. The current space treaties, such as the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, were not designed with planetary colonization in mind. As such, future laws will need to address everything from property rights on other planets to the responsibilities of those who manage and inhabit new worlds. Terraforming also raises questions about humanity's broader place in the universe. By transforming other planets, are we acting as creators, shaping worlds in our own image? Or are we caretakers, adapting planets to suit our needs while ensuring the preservation of their natural characteristics? How we approach these questions could define humanity's legacy in space. As we move toward the future, it's clear that terraforming will require not just technological innovations, but also a deep reflection on the moral, ethical, and social dimensions of creating new worlds. Despite the many challenges and questions surrounding terraforming, there is no denying the potential it holds for the future of humanity. The ability to turn lifeless planets into thriving ecosystems could ensure the survival of our species and create new opportunities for exploration, discovery, and growth. But how close are we to making this vision a reality? Currently, terraforming remains a long-term goal, one that is far beyond our immediate technological capabilities. However, we are already taking the first steps. Space agencies like NASA, along with private companies such as SpaceX, are actively working on missions that could lay the groundwork for future terraforming efforts. These missions are focused on exploring Mars, understanding its climate, and determining how its resources can be utilized to support human life. One of the key steps toward terraforming Mars, for example, is creating a self-sustaining human presence on the planet. Elon Musk's SpaceX is working toward this goal with plans to send humans to Mars within the next decade. If successful, the establishment of human colonies on Mars could mark the beginning of humanity's long-term relationship with the Red Planet. Once we have a permanent presence on Mars, the next logical step would be to begin the process of making it more Earth-like. Similarly, advancements in space exploration technology, such as reusable rockets, space habitats, and life support systems, are bringing us closer to the possibility of living on other planets. These technologies will be crucial for any terraforming project, as they will allow us to build the necessary infrastructure and transport people and materials across vast distances. Another promising development is the growing interest in planetary science and climate modeling. Understanding how planets like Mars and Venus have evolved over time and what caused their climates to become inhospitable is key to figuring out how we can reverse those processes. Scientists are studying these planets' atmospheres, weather patterns, and geological history to gain insights into what it might take to make them livable. In addition, research into bioengineering and synthetic biology is advancing rapidly. The ability to create genetically modified organisms that can survive in extreme environments, such as the cold, thin atmosphere of Mars or the acidic clouds of Venus, could be a game-changer for terraforming. These organisms could play a vital role in transforming planetary environments by producing oxygen, breaking down toxic chemicals, or enriching the soil for plant life. Geoengineering techniques, such as using orbital mirrors to control sunlight or deploying machines that can scrub carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, are also being explored. While these technologies are still in the experimental stages, they offer potential solutions to some of the most significant challenges of terraforming. The journey toward terraforming will likely be a slow and incremental process, with each new discovery and technological advance bringing us closer to the ultimate goal. While it may be centuries before we can walk on a fully terraformed Mars or Venus, the first steps are already being taken. With continued investment in space exploration and a commitment to solving the scientific, ethical, and political challenges, the dream of creating new worlds may one day become a reality. As we look ahead to the future, it's clear that terraforming isn't just about creating new homes for humanity. It's about fundamentally rethinking our relationship with the universe. The idea of transforming entire planets to suit our needs raises profound questions about the kind of civilization we want to become. Are we conquerors, imposing our will on other worlds? Or are we stewards, shaping planets with care and respect for the natural processes that exist there? One of the key challenges of terraforming will be ensuring that the lessons we've learned on Earth are applied to other planets. The environmental degradation and climate crises that we face on our own planet should serve as a warning. If we can't manage Earth's ecosystem sustainably, what hope do we have of managing the ecosystems of entirely new worlds? This is why many scientists advocate for a cautious approach, one that balances the need for human expansion with the responsibility to protect and preserve the natural state of other planets. In the meantime, there are alternatives to full-scale terraforming that could allow humanity to live in space without radically altering planets. For example, building enclosed habitats or terraforming small sections of a planet's surface might be a more feasible and ethical option. These habitats could create Earth-like environments in localized areas, allowing humans to live and thrive without needing to change the entire planet's climate or atmosphere. Another possibility is the creation of space habitats, massive, rotating structures located in orbit around Earth, Mars, or even farther out in the solar system. These structures, sometimes called O'Neill cylinders, could house thousands or even millions of people in a controlled environment, with artificial gravity, Earth-like climates, and self-sustaining ecosystems. Space habitats could offer an alternative to planetary colonization, providing a way for humanity to expand into space without the need to terraform planets. Of course, these concepts still require significant technological advancements, but they highlight the variety of paths humanity could take as we move beyond Earth. Terraforming is just one of many possibilities in our quest to explore and settle the cosmos. As we develop the technologies and political frameworks to support these ambitions, we must also remain mindful of the ethical implications. The future of terraforming, space exploration, and planetary colonization will require careful planning, global cooperation, and a shared vision for what kind of civilization we want to build beyond Earth. Will we repeat the mistakes of the past, or will we create a future where humans live in harmony with the worlds they inhabit? In the end, terraforming is not just a scientific challenge, but a philosophical one. It challenges us to think about what it means to be human, to explore, and to create. It pushes us to imagine not only new technologies, but new ways of living on Earth and beyond. The dream of terraforming may take centuries to realize, but it holds the promise of an extraordinary future, one where humanity is no longer confined to a single planet, but thrives among the stars. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the future of space exploration and terraforming. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more exciting updates on the latest in space science and the possibilities that await humanity beyond Earth.